is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at dorothylanemusic.com. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Ruel Abadam, and this is Ruel's Running Podcast. What? How's everybody doing? I am a bit sore and tight. Hope you're not feeling the same. I'm still recovering from a back injury. Not like serious. Well, I don't know. It's kind of serious when mobility is impacted and you're supposed to be this active, semi-active kind of guy who has to tag team with his spouse to take care of the family. Can you imagine both parents being out of commission due to a back injury? Both have to minimize time on their feet or things of that nature, and if you had little ones and they needed to be picked up kind of frequently. Fortunately, none of our kids are that young anymore, but yeah, I'm recovering. And today's going to be the first day back into the office since hurting my back. Didn't have to take too much time off, fortunately, because the injury happened over the weekend. And I'm taking advantage. I'm leveraging the prescription medication, the pain relief, and the anti-spasm medication. Pain relief twice a day, and the muscle relaxant at bedtime. So I'm not in pain, but I'm not good at identifying what is pain and what is not. So I've recently had to learn that the discomfort that happens time to time is a type of pain. So like yesterday, I was sitting at the table in front of the computer on a meeting, a video conference type meeting, and I noticed that the discomfort was picking up pretty good on my back. So wasn't feeling it. So I'm on the pain relief meds right now, and I do feel tightness in my back. I do have greater mobility than I did, so each day I'm getting better. And last night when my daughter got up to I need to go potty, she was standing by our bed, and I got it pretty quick, and I was happy about that, because the past couple prior nights to that, I was really slow and could barely stand on my own. So it's good that I'm getting those improvements. I can't help but imagine, that if I had committed to an event or a race, I'd be screwed under this condition. I'd have to miss out completely, or I would toe the line, not 100%. If I make the stupid choice to toe the line, And even worse is if I pull my back while I'm out in the middle of the trail, that would not be good. So things happen for a reason, I suppose. And this is just one of those things that's telling me to pay attention to my body, pay attention to my conditioning. And so taking it easy. And as soon as I am close to 100%, I'll start the process of trying to get back in running shape. Work on stretching, work on strength exercises, and try to ease into putting on some mileage on my feet. I've had to get around using my trekking poles, just one of them, as a cane, as a walking stick. So anyways, that's sort of what's going down. I am anxious to get back out. The weather's still nice. It's not as sweltering as it was the past couple of weeks. And I'm heading into the city today, and with the way the day is looking, I'm going to miss out on a good day of run. And I doubt I will be spending a whole lot of time on my feet today, meaning I'm not going to go out and walk the hour like I usually like to do on a lunch break. I don't know. I'll have to decide if that's a good thing or not, to spend time on my feet. I don't know. Anyways, let's get into food. How are things going in the kitchen? What's cooking? I've been, speaking of the weather, I've been trying to enjoy the wonderful weather. And if you hear some humming in the background as I'm scooting along, driving alongside a truck, I just allowed it to just pull ahead. You're welcome, truck driver. So, I did some grilling yesterday and the day before. The day before, I had grilled some chicken drumsticks, a handful of beef short ribs, and some beef hot dogs for the family. And there were leftovers, so last night, some of that was leftovers. But despite there being leftovers, I did grill again. Just very simple, something about getting a new gas tank, getting a refill, and continuing to just use it. So I turned on the grill and threw a couple of grass-fed beef patties on the grill, one big old jalapeno pepper, and a chunk of sliced onion, and got those going. I had myself a couple beef patties for dinner. It was really good. And Lonnie, that's why I brought up on. I messaged Lonnie because I was eating my burger. I'm like, wow, there's some pretty good heat on that particular jalapeno pepper. And I messaged Lonnie. He says, yeah, it's not hot enough. They're mild. And I argued that it depends. It depends on what you get. I've gotten peppers that are just like next to nothing, no heat whatsoever. Like, why even call yourself a jalapeno pepper? And then sometimes there's ones that surprise you, and they pack some pretty good heat. And he said that, well, I commented like I don't want to something along the lines like I don't want to destroy my butthole because I ate some pretty hot peppers. Because the way it goes is, I can stand to, eat some pretty good heat, but then when it comes off the other end, it's not too happy. don't want to destroy my ass. And he commented, like, if he goes in between not having anything spicy, then he ends up suffering on that back end. I forget exactly what the quote was, but I'm like, that could go on a t-shirt. So I quickly put it on a design, and I sent it his way. He's like, go ahead, sell it, sell them. How often do you get to wear a t-shirt that mentions the word rectum? Everyone needs a rectum t-shirt, followed, alongside a red hot chili pepper. Yeah, I'd gladly do that if there's demand. maybe there's some hot chili pepper Facebook group who needs some swag, and I'll gladly donate the design so that folks can wear a hot chili pepper rectum shirt. Come on now. Be kind to your anus. That sounds like a ballad. Be kind to your anus. Maybe from the 80s or the 90s. If there's any songwriters out there, I would love to hear you turn that into a song. A song titled Be Kind to Your Anus. Maybe it's a country song. Right? Yeah. Be kind to your anus. All right. That's enough for that. God. You know what I haven't done in a while? I haven't done some good bone broth. I've taken a break from it for quite some time, but could stand to re-up the bone broth, especially now. Why not? My wife's taken a collagen supplement, sort of by recommendation of her functional medicine doc, and made me think about since I'm nursing this back injury, I could probably stand to use some of that, get some broth going. Yeah. And I'm back. So I am now approaching a week from the injury. So I can't recall if I mentioned earlier before the break where I was, how far along I was. I think it had to do with on the last episode that I was on the mend because of I was pretty banged up. So as of now, I'm approaching a week from not from the rubber band incident. If folks are catching on, an episode or two ago, I mentioned that I almost put my back out picking up a rubber band. I was pretty beat up from a day or two earlier, and I guess I was just pretty stiff, pretty off, and bent over to pick up a rubber band and almost put my back out, but didn't quite put my back out, only for me to put my back out a couple days later while camping, wrapping up a camping trip. And it wasn't fun, but now at this point in time, I'm about a week from the incident. I did get medication, I think a day or so after. So it hasn't been a week yet of being on any of the medication, but I count recovery from the day of the injury. If that even makes sense. So after today, it'll be a week. I tried a little light stretching, and I realized during some of that stretching that I was pretty tight. and I noticed that my left glute, my left buttock, my left hip, my left side was the most tender, and I think I realized, as I stretched, that I could have just aggravated my back by losing some flexibility, or basically by not stretching out regularly. I think that's what did it. I like to say that I was pretty banged up. Maybe my back was traumatized by all of the pounding and the pressure of the impact, the weight bearing, if you will. I think that played a part, but I also think now that just being tight in general also played a part. So I need to, now that I'm a week out, just start the process of getting some good stretching back in place, and then once I get feel like I'm fully recovered, start adding more exercise to my routine. Not just the stretching, but add some bodyweight exercises, some squats and lunges and things of that nature. So it should be good. Yeah, it's kind of depressing when your back kind of goes out and you don't have as much mobility, and you lose a certain range of motion, and you're not as quick as you have been, and it also impacts how you. Now I'm talking in general, but it has impacted me as far as getting things done. I was doing something the other day, trying to remember what it was, and it took me a long time to get it done. I just trying to remember what it was. Oh my God. Yeah, it was. I must have been cleaning something or putting things together or sorting things, and my wife was surprised how long I took for me to cover a good chunk of that activity. And what's hard is, like, if I'm sitting down on the floor working on sorting or organizing stuff, right? It's just really tough to just even move around, pick things up,
Do you need a website? If you're an individual, a consultant, a group, or small business and need a site, or maybe you have an existing site, I can help. How about graphic design? Do you need a design for a t-shirt, logo, product, business cards? Maybe you need help with designing and developing a brand. I'm not an expert, but I do have the tools and the techniques to get the job done. How about a podcast? Yep, like this thing. This thing's a silly little show. Are you looking to set up a podcast of your own? Are you looking to reach an audience? Promote your business via podcast? Well, Abadam Studios. That's right, Abadam Studios. Yeah, so that's Abadam Studios. AbadamStudios.com, AbadamStudios.com. Check it out.
Anyways, it makes a difference to your ability to complete a given task if you've got like a tight back, and every sort of little twist and turn is slow going, and it sucks. I'm used to, not like, I don't know, there's a side of me that just wants to just burst. If I need to pick something off the floor or head her from one room to the next, I want to go in a burst, not like, snail's pace. No offense to snails, I think you guys are awesome, when broiled with some garlic butter and over a lovely a lovely dish, an hors d'oeuvre perhaps. Yeah, so that, it's kind of depressing because my movement is limited and my mobility is limited, and that in itself is depressing. And I need to give myself time enough to recover, to heal. A couple days ago I thought, maybe I'll just go out for a run. There's a nice little bit of trail around home. You can get a little climb going. But then, I guess the smarter side of me said that was the stupid thing. That would be a stupid thing to do. If I got too caught up in the moment and made the wrong move, put my back out again, I'd probably put it out even worse than I did last time. Because that was pretty much what was going on. I put it out. I almost put it out, and then I put it out. But fortunately, I was able to regain mobility. I wasn't bedridden or anything like that. So then if I went out again on the trail and then did something stupid, put my back out, and not only would have made things worse, but I'd probably still be on that trail right now talking to you guys. Like, yeah, here I am. Last night was pretty cold. The crickets were kind of loud, and got a little scared. And no one's found me yet, but I'm still here on the trail. Hopefully tomorrow someone will find me on the trail. Yeah. Help somebody. Ow! The wild animals are wondering what that pathetic sound is. So it's depressing, right? I finally got through the summer. I've gotten a little bit of my old routine back, where I can head into the office and I managed to throw in a couple of runs prior to getting injured. And I was looking forward to trying to get back into a groove, and then injury. So that's enough of that. I do think that maybe I needed this time to just take it easy. And I used to get these thoughts after I would suffer, or during dealing with a migraine, right? I would get a migraine, and then I would be taken out, and then I would think, okay, this is just one of those things that it's sort of a wake-up call for me to make some changes, So whenever I got a migraine, I would have to make some changes to my nutrition, managing my stress, things of that nature, and then I would get things back. So perhaps, being sidelined from a back injury is an opportunity for me to reflect and see, what I need to do, what I need to change. And I'm not too sure what that is. Maybe it is that I really need to start taking stretching and strength work more seriously, especially now that I am up in age. What I'm like. I'm 104 right now. So before I get any older, I need to really start thinking about, keeping myself flexible and strong as much as possible, because, 105 is around the corner, and, 105 is kind of getting up there. So perhaps that's that. And I did get a little bit of exercise today, and I did try to keep my back, be mindful of my back. I didn't go crazy, but I was still at risk. And the risk was that I was going to do an activity that I haven't done since, I want to say, elementary school in the dark ages. And that activity was around baseball, softball, that type of stuff. So the family went out, met with a friend and her grandkids, and we wanted to basically introduce my sons to, being out on the field, baseball, the gloves, the balls, the bats, and the bases, and all of that stuff, and getting him to swing and miss, and swing and miss, and swing and hit, and just introduce them to that activity and get them to run the bases and what it's like to be chased down, so did that. Even my daughter got into it. We started out with, we want to expose our middle son, our middle kid, our second son, to the sport. I'm not big on playing the sport, but I think I had enough of it as a kid, meaning like, okay, now I know what that. I had a taste of it, right? Playing in the playground, with other kids, It was fun, and we figure that if our son can get sort of introduced to that one way or another, when the opportunity arises where he's going to go play with other kids, he's kind of set. We've seen that with other activities. I played dodgeball with the boys. I taught them how to play the way I learned to play it. Did that for a while, and then when it came down to summer day camp, during the past summer, the kids were like in these week-long programs, these intermittent programs. So it was an opportunity for me to get some sort of break off from one kid or another. But he went out, and one of the things they did was dodgeball, and he was just involved. So I want to be able to get these kids doing, these activities that include other kids, unlike their dad who's like, I'm going to just go run solo and talk to myself. So we went out to the field, and we swung the bat, hit a few balls, caught a few balls, and just had a good time. And I almost lost. I lost my phone. I didn't almost lose it. I lost it, but luckily it was found. And then that wasn't a good feeling. It's like, I got too caught up in the activity of chasing after the ball and throwing it to the base and all that stuff. Then at some point it's like, whoa, where did my phone go? And there's a whole field here to scour. Where did I stand? Where was I? Where did I chase down a ball? And I couldn't find my phone. And then luckily our friend, our friend's grandson had the better eyes, and he found it. Yippee! Yay! And I'm back. So we're actually sitting midweek now, this segment of the podcast, and how is it going? Well, I'm mostly recovered from the back stuff, right? I was able to run a couple days ago on a Monday, and I did feel some sort of achiness and tightness on my back at the end of Monday. So I made sure that bedtime I took my medication just as a precaution, because I didn't want to get up on a Tuesday and be really sort of out of whack and all that. So yeah, what else? I'm really out of shape. Yesterday, Tuesday, end of day, my daughter wanted to pull her training wheels off of her bike. And so what? She's 5, and she had been part of a conversation with her brothers and I about getting her to practice, and to try out riding without the training wheels. So to my surprise, at the end of the day yesterday while we were hanging out, she's like, I want to try it. So I took off the training wheels, but I had to, she still has a lot of work to do she's almost there, she's still used to leaning on a side or the other side of her bike to sort of feel that catch of a training wheel. But I told her that she's got to just keep pedaling and get that momentum going, and she's got to stay centered, or to compensate by kind of making some turns and stuff. So what that meant was I had to basically run alongside of her, holding onto her a little bit, in spurts, So I was like, okay, go down the street. I'm like, okay, turn around, go down the street again. I'm like, okay, no, I need a break, and I'm feeling it. I'm a little tired. And I think it has to do with my back. My back is still sort of recovering. And, there's something about the back, man, where once it gets tired, everything else seems to just follow, which is nice about running, running on a trail or running on, doing a midday run is, I stay sort of in a neutral position with my upper body and my back, and then basically let my legs do the motion and my upper body just kind of goes on for the ride. Whereas if I'm trying to run with my torso turned to the side and my arms stretched out to sort of hold on to her or the bike, and I'm running, I'm not in a neutral position in my upper body, so it definitely does challenge me. So yeah, I'm a weakling. I need to work on that. The plan is today go out and do another run and just keep at it, develop reestablish the habit of doing midday runs and not being tempted to just go to lunch and spend a whole bunch of money on a lunch. Yeah. So that's that. I'm feeling it in my legs, some weird achiness on my thighs, my left thigh specifically. So I need to re-employ the lacrosse ball for sort of some trigger point massage. I need to, keep the stretching routine going in the evening, and just try to loosen everything up and start feeling good and strong, But I still have some bad habits that I gotta eliminate. I was cooking dinner last night. I was frying up some fish and some bacon grease, and I messaged Lonnie. Told him that I had been drinking beer lately, and that's not on the NSNG green list, good list. I've been bad. There were periods of the summer where, we got together with my brother-in-law and his wife, and we had sort of dinners and things and barbecues, and my brother-in-law's wife, she likes to drink beer, and so once in a while we'll have beer just for her and him too. But what happens is, I get into that mood of like that sort of that festive mood. I'm like, what the heck, I'll have one of these beers, right? I haven't had one of these in a while, and I enjoy it, and then what happens is, I end up having another beer, or on another day I'll have another beer. And suddenly, now I've developed that bad sort of habit of, maybe I'll buy myself a 6-pack, right? And I'll just keep it in the fridge just in case somebody wants to drink a beer. And guess who ends up wanting to drink a beer at some point in time? It becomes this guy. So I've been doubling up on some pretty bad habits, and I'm aware of it. And in a weird way, it's sort of like tempting fate, or in a way, I know that it's not good for me, right? And I'm sort of doing it anyways. I'm doing it anyways, and I know I need to stop because it's sort of counterproductive to me making any sort of progress as far as better health and better fitness and nutrition. It is, right? And I think about it a lot. Not a lot, but I think about it time to time. I'm still doing it, and I may need to. Well, I'm definitely definitely going to need to stop. But I keep asking myself, if I know better, why do I keep doing it, right? And that's that cognitive dissonance, I think, that Vinny's talking about. At least that's a form of it. And I wonder that what's it going to take for me to actually just call it quits, right? Like, just knock it off. And I think, and what's definitely going to get me to knock it off is, for things to be really out of hand. And I shouldn't have to wait for my wellness to get out of hand in one way or another for that to happen. So, I'm just throwing it out there. This podcast is about, so many things, and it happens, when you are NSNG for so long, you now and again will put some life into living, but sometimes you think you're bulletproof and that you can put in more life into living than you should, and you almost are waiting to see, like, ooh, I didn't pack on the weight. I didn't break out in a rash eating this or drinking this. I didn't have a bad reaction. So then you start to gauge, how much is my upper end of consuming life into living before I start to see adverse sort of results, And my fear is that one day I'm going to wake up with a migraine, a severe migraine, and then that'll be that wake-up call for me. Or one day I'm going to wake up, I'm going to have like a whole bunch of rashes, like a whole major breakout all over my body. Or even worse, I'm going to get some autoimmune thing diagnosis, right? So I shouldn't have to wait for things to get that bad for me to call it quits. And it's I don't know if it's a struggle because I'm not hit with any of those ailments and those conditions or a diagnosis, and my rationale is I do these things to sort of let my mind be free, in a way, let loose, or have a level of control, maybe, It's almost mid-September, and the school year started about a month ago, and I'm still feeling the adjustment period. There's still sort of this I don't know, I think there's still a little bit of a psychological struggle, having to transition from being a mostly full-time stay-at-home summer daddy day camp kind of guy and into this new school year, and I feel like I'm still trying to get into some sort of routine. So that's why I'm able to throw back running, and some of these but because there's an adjustment period, I kind of feel like my mind maybe having to deal with a lot, and I just want to relax. And part of the way I relax is, what the heck, I'm going to crack open a beer, or I'm going to have another glass of bourbon. And, I got to just call it quits, and I got to find something healthier to replace, that time, and something that I can feel good about. So, yeah. I mean, it makes no sense for me to be trying to do healthful and fitness-related activities if I'm going to just destroy any of that, by, consuming too much stuff that isn't good for me. It's pretty awful, isn't it? Maybe I can stand to recover better. I'm pretty sure I can stand to recover better from all of the exercise by by eliminating things like alcohol, right? So, anyways, that's what's going down. Hey everybody, I'm back. So we're about 4 days out from that last segment, and I want to say that I'm feeling way better. And the reason why I say that I'm feeling way better is because, yesterday was a Saturday, and took the kids out to the park, the family, and and on a Friday, I want to say on a Friday evening, we bought a bunch of gear at the Play It Again Sports. The store. There's a store that sells sporting good equipment, as well as they allow you to sell back, and you can sell back equipment, and you can buy used equipment, and save a buck or two. So we've been experimenting with baseball, softball with the kids. Not really the whole game, but getting them to experience what it's like to throw and catch and hit and run bases. So, we're at a level, after yesterday, we're at a level where the boys are getting better at, making contact, making hits. So, the idea is, get them outdoors, get them to do more of this stuff, and then switch it up, as boys and girls should, in this sporting stuff. So, it was neat. Neat. The equipment's pretty neat. It takes me back to my childhood. I wasn't big on softball and baseball, but I did spend many recesses, playtime with the kids that I grew up around who were into it. So pretty neat. So the kids are getting into some sports-related activities, and as we go through that, on that Saturday, we were out at a park nearby a friend's house. We were hoping to have an impromptu meetup and play, and have the families play, but that didn't happen. But what did happen was we did enjoy the field. We did enjoy the day. It was great, and it's a big old field. And when we thought our friend was able to make it, I had to get across to the other end of the field to see if that's where they were. And I raced my son to the other end of the field. He took a tri-bike, which is basically a scooter, and he followed the paved path walkway along the perimeter of the park, and I just cut through the field on foot. And he went as quick as he could, and I went as fast as I could.
to see who can get to the other end first. So there I was, just, running back and forth and feeling good. So that's why I say, these several days that have passed since that last segment, I'm getting there. And although I just realized now, as I'm sitting here talking, that I'm maybe not 100%, because now I'm feeling the effects of the onset of a migraine gonna happen. But I'm plowing through, and I'm not just gonna curl up and die just yet. I don't have time for that. So there's a level of physical activity that I'm able to perform, which is great as far as back recovery. But there are still some other things that I can stand to tune and optimize, and that's just evident by the fact that I am now gonna come down with a migraine. So to me, that means I could start working on getting the nutrition tuned, and that's pretty much it. But life goes on, and still gotta try to make the best of it. And one way that we make the best of life is to celebrate life's moments. We're not there yet, but my wife and I did have an early sort of anniversary celebration. We both had time in our schedule where we were able to, while the kids were in school, we were able to have lunch together at a nice place. She had seafood, I had steak and seafood, of course. She had a nice soup appetizer. It was a clam chowder, a Boston clam chowder. And then she had a nice fish dish. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't know what type of fish it was. But I had oysters. I had raw oysters as an appetizer. And then I had a New York steak for my entree. And it's funny, I've been watching a lot of the free episodes on the Food Network app on Apple TV, and able to watch a bunch of these episodes from Bobby Flay's Grill It series. And I've been hearing just enough times how he enjoys a steak, and it's medium rare, right? It's medium to medium rare. So that's how I ordered my steak, and oh boy, so delicious. So we celebrated an early anniversary. We had an early anniversary celebration. And so she had, for the moment, to enjoy that moment, she had a mimosa, middle of the day. And I had a glass of red wine. When we both got home, we were both knocked out, We were both wiped out pretty bad, because she so happened to be up already 30 hours. No sleep. So they have a big old lunch and a little bit of alcohol, that was really wiping her out. And I was only running on 3 hours sleep at the time. And when we got home, I was pretty wiped out as well. So, yay! That's how we do it. Celebrate the anniversary. So, remember when I was talking about I should not have to wait for something bad to happen, something severe, for me to get the message that I need to get myself in order. It's been long enough where, through the summer and all that stuff, I've been pretty lax with how I've approached nutrition, and I've just not had the the opportunities or the drive to do some sort of physical activity outside of, however physical I happen to be when I'm out with the family. So yeah, so here we are. This is it. Got a, had the back thing, and having the migraine thing, and it's need to get serious. So one of the things that I've done to get serious is, and it's not really that significant, but it had been a long while since I've done it, and that's, enjoy homemade bone broth. So I've been working on, I made a batch, 2 or 3 days ago, and I've been having it every day, and it's great. One of the ways that I enjoy having it is with a splash of heavy cream. If you guys have ever done that, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. And, interestingly enough, even with me kind of, like, it's funny, if you've never had a migraine, or if you don't know anybody who has a migraine, hi, my name is Royal, and I'm a migraine sufferer. And this is what's going on right now. The migraine aura, right? It's where my vision is impaired because of this aura, this weird visual experience that's happening. And it's typically the start of my migraine. It's that letting me know, like, it's the opening credits. Right? The jingles going on, and the credits are, that's what's going on. And it does impact my ability to focus on, what I'm looking at, as far as, like, if I need to read something, it's all hazy, we're at my focal point. Then that's, to me, the most awful part, the opening credits, because it tells me, like, yeah, you're screwed. Like, great. And then the other reason is, like, I can't function at my best. Disregard the pain. That is the main show, right? Disregard the pain. It's the not having the ability to see clearly and impairs my ability to function. So I can't safely drive. I can't safely, I can't safely just do stuff, and it's distracting. So if I'm in a busy household, and all of that activity's happening, kids wanting stuff, and a lot of noise and this and that, which is normal. It's the stress of, like, oh man, I am being taken out, and I'm sort of having that anxiety of, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? How am I going to approach functioning? How am I going to approach taking care of stuff? How am I going to approach getting to my destination if I'm on the road without having to kill myself and the family? Or how am I going to function the day? How am I going to get the kids taken care of, fed, out of the scalding bath water, and away from the power tool, the electric power tools, and all of that stuff. And the microwave running with the door wide open. Step away from the campfire. That's not how you roast marshmallows. You need to not use your hands. So it's the anxiety of, like, what am I going to do now? I'm amidst this sort of the storm, the start of the storm, and it's starting to stir. But I have to figure out as quickly as possible, how am I going to make sure that things are taken care of before I crumple and die, and get resurrected again. That's the beauty of of it all. Once you get resurrected, once you get to the recovery part, it's great. And to me, it's not getting past any pain. That's the recovery part. To me, the recovery is getting my vision back. And that is like, okay, great. Now I can function. You know, should there be pain to follow? You know, whatever, right? As long as I can see clear. And it's amazing. So I've, knock on wood, right? I don't have wood. I'm knocking on a piece of paper. They're related, right? To me, getting out of the storm is, and it's happened now, where the visual obstruction has faded from my focal view, and there's just some residual around the edges of my vision. So basically, my peripheral vision is slightly hazed, but I could see, I could focus on, I could read, right? So that is close to being out of the bad part of my migraines. My migraines are my migraines. They're personal, right? And once my vision is completely cleared up, it's like amazing. You know, we take vision for granted. We really do, right? Until it's taken away from us. You know, whether it's the visual aura, it's yeah. So once you get that back, once you have that temporary experience of your vision is shot, and then you panic about it and you freak out and you suffer through it, and then you get your vision back, then it's like, oh my God, it's so new. It's like, wow, I could see stuff. Oh my God, this is amazing. I mean, it doesn't help my color blindness. I don't think they're related, but only imagine if I wasn't colorblind and I got out of this visual aura experience and my vision was restored. I'm like, wow, colors. But that's not me. Yeah. So I've, I'm feeling, despite this, I'm feeling optimistic, and I'm feeling kind of energetic that, I am going to, stretch. I'm going to work on my flexibility. I'm going to do some strength exercises, and I'm going to, eliminate things that aren't good for my diet, and I'm going to strive to, add back things that are more healthful. So we'll see. And the reason why I say we'll see is because, as I mentioned, my wife and I celebrated an early anniversary by having lunch together. That day has yet to happen. So who knows what may happen when that day comes and more celebrating happens. Have I gotten to that point where I've gotten the severe, the critical, the hard messages that say, you know what, you need to get yourself in order? Or am I going to not do what's right and suffer more things till I get the message right? So I hope not. But yeah, dun dun dun. And I gotta listen to my own self, and eat something delicious, hug your friends, hug your family, and don't make bad decisions so that you don't have to suffer through things like back injuries and migraines, and run something back.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.